Hello and welcome back to another part of Design Your Own Level tutorial. So what we did in the previous video is we created our normal map, albedo map, and everything for our base texture for particularly the lever part of our texture. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to set values for like all the metallic parts. And another thing, I'm not going to worry too much about this area over here. Actually, the only thing I'm going to worry about is that this one is supposed to be black. Oh, sorry, on the wrong side. There we go. That's supposed to be black. I'm not going to worry too much about all of these values. This is going to be like a slight plastic, so this can actually combine with the lever's roughness values. So we'll work it out from there. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm just going to separate these ones. I'm going to use our reference chart just to get like a slight middle value of what we want to do, and then I'm just going to import that straight into Unreal Engine 4 so that we can actually start seeing a little bit of fruits to our labor. So let's just get this tutorial started. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm just going to hit the fuzzy select tool, hold shift, and then select all the metal parts. I'm going to hit Control C. I'm going to then just hit Control V. That should be okay. There we go. To a new layer, and then move this all the way down so that you can see that we're only influencing these parts over here. I'm gonna go to my histogram, and that actually is not going to have much of a color. So what we're going to do here is we're going to like try and get a color value. So when we're going for something like that, this is probably on the lines of aluminium. So let's quickly select that over there. I'm going to go to this open area that we're using for color reference and see that that's got a fairly high value of 246. Now I'm just going to fill this with a solid color, with the white that we actually have been using straight out of the bat, because we are going to be using a different method to change the color for this inside of Unreal Engine 4 itself when we set up our material. So don't worry too much about this. It will look awesome. I can promise you that. So what we're going to do from here now is that is going to be our albedo. Whoa, just completely type something different. Albedo. For our metal, let's say albedo for the metal, and then we want to get a roughness value. So we're gonna go with something, let us see, it's actually, if we go back to our reference image, you don't really see much reflection on it. It just looks like solid metal. So we're gonna go for something around about the 0.5 level. So I'm just going to grab there, and you know what, actually we don't even need to fill in here because we're using the values directly. I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm going to call this the roughness. Is that the roughness? Yes, that is the roughness. And I'm just going to fill all of them directly. There we go. So we'll call this roughness metal because we're working on the metal parts of it. And then the last part is the metallic values. Now these values actually, because we don't have any real texture on that particular part of the model, these values we can actually just set in Unreal Engine 4. The same can actually go with all of these values. We could have set them directly in Unreal Engine 4 and we don't actually need them to be textured whatsoever. The only reason why we set up the texture itself was so that we can keep a uniform with the other textures that we created, so that we can just like blend them together. So I think I'm still gonna go, I'm gonna duplicate it, and then I'm going to set a metal value for it. So let's go with, where is it, metallic is there. So we're going to keep to something around about the 0.5 level. So essentially it's going to look identical. So let's keep it the one we duplicated, and we're just going to call this metallic. So now it's going to be metallic metal. Awesome. And we're just going to delete all of these, and I just forgot to fill these in the previous part. Let's just see. They're also part of the metal, so they need to be. And let's see if I did it with this one here. Okay, I didn't do it with this one, so I just need to get the color value of that one. And just make sure that I fill those in. Alright, so now also for the other part, these, we didn't set any value to them at whatsoever, so I'm just going to leave them, I think I'm going to leave them black for now. I actually just want to see if we can maybe just get a certain color value for them on each different one. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to like blend everything together. So I'm going to take our roughness, I'm going to bring it down, and I'm going to merge it down with our roughness metallic. Roughness needs to, there we go, sorry. Roughness needs to merge down. Alright, so we don't have any metal values for our lever area, so we're just going to ignore that, and we're just going to take our albedo and then drag it down, and we're going to merge it down with our albedo for the metal area. So I'm just going to merge that down. Okay, that keeps on doing that, so let's just do it like so. It seems that if something isn't visible, it will merge down to the only object that is visible. The metallic, that's the only one that has metal, and the normal map, there's only certain parts of it that has normal map, so everything as is should actually be fine. There's just one more thing that we're missing. We're actually missing the color values for these over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the albedo, and I'm just going to like overlay it like this so that you can see that those values actually do appear. And I'm just going to say new from visible, call this the albedo final, and then ignore these, and then I'm going to start exporting these. So we're going to start exporting these so that we can actually see what it looks like in Unreal Engine 4 and just hope for the best. So I'm going to hit export, and I'm going to call this chair. Actually, let's use that chair top albedo export. And then the roughness, chair top, roughness, and then the last one, the metallic. Alright, I'm going to jump over to Unreal Engine 4. You see, I actually already tried this before just to see what it would look like. So I imported the chair and everything, and I had some random textures that I tried and they didn't work. So I'm just going to like delete these, and I'm going to delete the material that I created. So seeing that we have the chair imported now, what we can do is we can just go to our textures, click import, and I'm going to select these ones as so. Now bear in mind, these are fairly large textures, and if it's too much detail than what you require, you can always scale the entire image down to the resolution that you want. So always work in a higher resolution, and you can just scale things down. Okay, so now I'm just going to make a new material and just call this chair matte. And open it, go over to my textures tab, and then drag these three textures in. Alright, so that's our roughness. Alright, just one quick thing. Did we export on our normal map? I don't believe we did, so I'm just going to hit File, Export, norm export. And then I'm just going to import and drag it in as well. Okay, so now one thing to remember, that it's an OpenGL normal map. We just have to flip the green channel on it, then click save. So now this is our albedo. We're going to hook it up and we're going to hope for the best. This is our metal, we're going to hook it up. This is our roughness, hook it up, and this is our normal map, hook it up. Click save. I'm going to minimize it, and I'm just going to go to materials and then just drag it in and see what it looks like. Alright, apart from the chair actually looking a bit too reflective, everything looks okay except actually these didn't come out very well. Alright, so actually our main problem is the fact that we did not set more values for our normal map itself. Now if we go back to Unreal, you'll see that because we kind of like tried to set an alpha channel for a normal map, and unfortunately you can't do that. It caused these lines, and these lines that is actually what's causing most of our distortion on our model. Because if I completely remove the normal map, you'll see this is actually what the model looks like, and that looks pretty good. We don't have any distortion or anything like that, but as soon as I add our normal map in, just go back to the material, and I hook up our normal map, and I click apply, then you'll see that we'll instantly get the texture banding and everything and those horrible lines. So there are two ways to fix it. The one way is we can create an alpha mask, and we can tell the normal map that it only has to draw on this area over here. Or we can just bake out the normal map, what you can do is you can use your diffuse reference, and we'll duplicate it. And we'll just go to Tools, Map, Normal Map, and just click OK. But the problem is we might get some artifacts on the side, but we can quickly see what that looks like. Actually, all that we need to do is we just need this color. So what we can do is we can just use the color dropper. We'll just get that color, and we can literally just fill everything with that color. So all the selections we can fill with that color. Now this might seem like a very, very silly thing to do, but if you just want to do it quickly, instead of using alpha masks or alpha channels or anything like that, and then we can do this. We can set that goes over, and we can hit export again. So I'm just quickly going to export over that normal map and replace it. Yep. And then I'm going to jump back into, we needed to make a new from visible, otherwise it's just going to export that one layer. So let's just do that again, overwrite it. There we are. So this is a little bit of a problem solving if you ever like experience random distortion errors that you don't recognize. And we'll import that quickly. Go back to our materials, open the chair material, drag the texture in, delete that one, and then hook this one up, click apply, and hopefully that should solve our problem. And you see, there we go. That solved our problem. We don't have the issue anymore, and we don't have to worry about texture masking. Now, let's just quickly get to texture masking. If you want to use texture masking, you're more than welcome to. So I'm just quickly going to give like a basic coverage of how we're going to do that. So I already made a texture mask. Sorry, truck coming by. Already made a texture mask that essentially shows you how it works. So think of it like this. You have your three color channels, your red, green, and blue, and you want only a particular part of the texture to draw on green, and then that's what you do. So you can go into GIMP, for instance, here, and we can duplicate this part, and then we can go and select a full-on, let's do the full-on green color. So it will be a 255 green, 0 red, and 0 blue, and then you like fill these parts over here, and then you do the same for the other parts over there, with wherever you want a particular texture to draw. So if you want, you can fill this with blue. So this is what I did with this. I essentially just want the normal map to draw on this part over here, and so we can go over and then just quickly look at it. Just want to see if we still, what I'm quickly going to do, I'm still going to use the old normal map that we created. So let's do this. We'll highlight this one, and I'm going to export this and call this the normal old, just to kind of like illustrate the point. And then we're going to import it. Shows a lot of cars coming by all of a sudden. And you see that is what our old texture used to look like, or our old normal map. Oh, come on, here we go. And this is the new one that we created, and we added the sides in so it doesn't do that texture banding. So how we're going to do this is we're going to import our mask, and then we are going to use our old normal map and our mask, and then I'm going to delete this one, and we're going to add a lerp. Alright, so I had to pause there for a moment because we have a lot of construction going on in the road next to us. Okay, so just to get back to what we're doing, we add the lerp, then I'm going to add the normal map into A, and then I'm just, not to drag that off, I'm going to just open our mask so that you can see what it looks like, and then you'll see that if you decide to draw the alpha and you draw the green channel, you see that the green channel is highlighted in white and the blue channel there is also highlighted in white. So then what we're going to do is then we're just going to feed the blue channel into the alpha and then feed that into the normal. I'm going to click apply and we'll just quickly see what that looks like. And then you'll see there's our old normal map that was causing the texture banding, and we can just quickly show you again that it is the normal map that causes the texture banding because I can just hook it up directly. Click apply. See there. And essentially it's just using the mask, the channel masks, or the red, green, and blue, and we're using the blue to tell it to just draw wherever there is blue colors or wherever there is the other colors. So it all really depends on how you want to use texture masks. Oh, sorry, I hooked up the blue. Why did I hook up the blue? There we go. It's supposed to be the green. Is it the green? No, it's the blue. Alright, so that's it. That brings us to the end part of texturing the top of this chair piece itself. I'm not going to use the alpha mask on this, or the mask itself. I'm just going to use the new texture that I created, the new normal map, because just for simplicity's sake. If I want to do something a little bit later on, then I can start using the masking and alpha masks, but for now I just want to keep this as basic as possible. So you just want to like use your 4 basic textures, and that's going to be it. Later on, we might actually go into doing some ambient occlusion or things like that. But for now, this is pretty much what we want. This is looks exactly the way that I wanted it to look, and basically envisioned it to look. So this brings us to the end of this tutorial. In the next part, we are going to do it fairly simple. We're just going to do this bottom part by just using our metal references that we used before, and we're just going to make the wheels like solid black. There's no real problems that will arise from texturing this bottom piece over here. You can leave a like if you like this, you can leave a dislike if you didn't like it. Please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.